I have a question.
Okay.
So straight out of the gate, like, is CrossFit for everybody? Listen, I want your honest opinions, honestly.
No.
Yeah, I think
No.
we both agree.
Owner of a CrossFit gym
No.
says CrossFit is not for everybody.
No.
What about you?
I say no also. I mean,
It's a loaded question.
yeah, very loaded.
And this thing is on. It is moving. What's up, guys? We have Nicole here. Taylor, introduce yourselves.
Welcome to Coffee Talk. I'm Nicole Race, owner of Elevate.
Taylor Race, the other owner of Elevate.
And we are starting a new segment we're going to hope to have out every week.
Yep.
And this is going to be our forum, our platform to connect to you guys. It's about sharing information that we sometimes only use or talk about between ourselves. Sometimes these are conversations and ideas that we have with some of our members, some of our clients. Just some useful things that I think that would help shed light on some interesting topics that we end up talking about here and there, just about different things related to fitness, health, nutrition, CrossFit, whatever it is.
Yeah, we end up getting in these kind of passionate debates with each other. Not really even debates, but we're just kind of like supporting each other, talking through things.
Interesting debates.
Yeah, interesting debates.
And
Arguing
debates.
the same thing.
Yeah,
Right.
arguing the same thing to each other. And we figured it'd be good to share it with everybody else and see, maybe you learn from it, maybe you're entertained by it. But it's good, useful information from what we think, so we just wanted to start.
Yeah, not so much like instructional how-to, this is what you need to learn today. Just like, more or less our opinion of a couple different things. So
I have a question.
Okay.
So straight out of the gate, like, is CrossFit for everybody? Listen, I want your honest opinions, honestly.
No.
Yeah, I think
No.
we both agree.
Owner of a CrossFit gym
No.
says CrossFit is not for everybody.
No.
What about you?
I say no also. I mean,
It's a loaded question.
yeah, very loaded.
Okay, so let's start. To deload it physically. Like, let's start physical. Like, what's the physical attributions or characteristics maybe someone needs to begin CrossFit?
You want to start?
Yeah, I mean, so we're good with beginners, and we like beginners, but there needs to be a certain level of capability there. I think to get the most out of CrossFit workouts. And we've talked about before, like, are you just in a CrossFit gym working out, or are you actually doing CrossFit workouts? And the original model that Greg Glassman put out was working with people one-on-one, getting them prepared to be efficient enough in movement to perform these like higher volume kind of more advanced kind of skillful workouts. And not everybody is there at an appropriate level to even start that.
Yeah, everyone's on a different playing field. So, I mean, Glassman, he trained people one-on-one, and then when they were ready, based on their skill level, their movement, their strength, then they could join the group.
That makes sense.
And so that's when group fitness made sense and become efficient and safe and productive for everyone involved, both trainers and attendees, when everyone's, not that they're at the same exact level, but they all have a basic skill set that allows them to not have to rely on such one-on-one attention for modification and things like that.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be modified so far away from the WOD for it to be effective anymore. So, I think there's just a prerequisite that needs to be set.
Right. And so if someone doesn't have, let's say those what we would consider our standard to join in the group, that's when a beginner's program, or what we have as basics, gets involved. And that's commonly known as fundamentals for people, stuff like that. So, that's preparing them for the program. A lot of gyms have a standard on-ramping or fundamentals class or series of classes, where it's 1 session, 3 sessions. We've moved to one-on-one for 3 sessions. However, we really communicate to people that it may be 3 sessions, it may be 8, it may be 10. I won't know until I start working with someone, seeing how they're moving.
I think that's important.
What's their range of motion like? Is it safe for them to pull off the floor with a deadlift? Can they go overhead? Do they have pre-existing injuries? Do they have a history of back issues? You know, do they have elbow pain when they pull? All these things that you would never get to discover in a group setting, you know, until it became a problem, until it's like, all right, my back's hurting or whatever. You can't pay that much attention in a group setting. So being able to have that one-on-one for as long as necessary until we feel like they're prepared to join the group and they need a little less attention, they have the fundamentals down, they're not going to be lost going in there, they know exactly what to expect and how to approach certain movements that we know are going to be involved in the programming, that's when I think people are ready to join the group. So aside from, kind of touched on the physical abilities that we want people to have, at least to consider entering into a CrossFit program or how to start getting into a CrossFit program, I think the most important characteristic that's involved in making sure that you are going to get everything out of a CrossFit program and you're in it for the right reasons is their mental state, like their attitude and their mindset. I mean, how many times do we come across people that think they want to do CrossFit because they, you know, see it can be challenging, it's fun, there's a lot of variability in it, but they don't have that like long-term growth mindset. Like they're really just looking for a hard workout.
Yeah, or just a class.
Yeah, or just
like,
a class.
You know,
like, oh, there's people here, I'm social, so I just want to do CrossFit because it looks fun.
Right. And it has fit in the name, so that might be like the class that I've done before.
Yeah. And I mean, at least with the way we see CrossFit and with our program, you have to be in it for the long term.
Yeah.
And I think to really get everything out of those sessions with, you know, the group setting, you have to have that long-term growth mindset. So you have to know that you're going to be really, really crappy at a lot of stuff in the beginning. And you have to know there's a long learning curve for a lot of different movements and skill development. And you're not going to always get this sweaty, hard, challenging workout in a physical sense. Like a lot of times in the beginning of CrossFit, you're spending the majority of your energy on developing small skills and learning movement.
Yeah, I think
for the first time.
You have to like kind of chasing that mastery, like really pursuing getting better at things, and kind of like you said, just like knowing it's you're gonna have weaknesses. You're not gonna be good at something, but being okay with that and being like, okay, I'm gonna attack that next time. I'm gonna do better, instead of letting it defeat you. And just kind of on the other side of that, so we've got the skills, but also knowing that like you're gonna get in some uncomfortable situations, and you need to be okay with pushing through that and growing from it, and not sort of shying away from the tough things, like the things that make you uncomfortable, the things that get you really out of breath, because that's gonna happen. Yeah,
you have to look for that failure, that challenge, because you'll have some workouts and some movements that you're naturally good at or that you're okay with. And then there will definitely be, and everyone has them, those weaknesses or the things that you really need to work on that will come up in a workout. And you can't be the type of person that cherry picks because you're not good at it or you don't like that movement, because that's not working towards mastery. That's not working towards improvement. And you have to have that growth mindset in CrossFit.
And as coaches, we can kind of show you the way of like getting used to what CrossFit is if you're not used to CrossFit. Because it's a lot more involved, and it's a different kind of perspective than your other classes and things that are out there and other programs. But you have to want to go through that process. Like, we can't talk you into wanting it.
Right.
Yeah.
We can, as coaches, we can encourage and we can support and we can provide you with the tools to succeed. But if you don't want it, if you don't want to go through the tough times and you don't want to
spend time outside of class working on your mobility and things like that. Like there's a lot of extra credit and things to work on outside of that 1 hour class that's going to result in you improving and becoming better at CrossFit. But if you're just looking to get out of breath and really sweaty for an hour, to me, that's not what our CrossFit program provides. There's a lot of people that can provide packaged intensity, as we call it, where I can make you sweaty and out of breath in 3 minutes with doing a bunch of random shit. But with our CrossFit program, we treat it as, this long-term program where you're going to work towards always acquiring more skill, and you're going to approach weaknesses, and you're going to find new weaknesses. You're going to master that one and take it to the next level. So you have to be in it like a sport.
It's kind of like that athlete mindset.
And you have to be addressing all areas of fitness. You have to be addressing nutrition. You have to be addressing your recovery and your sleep. to get the most out of CrossFit in my mind, because
Yeah, and that's just a personality thing.
yeah,
Yeah.
we're
That's why,
asking a lot of those people.
like, saying
to join our
CrossFit's
program.
not for everyone in that aspect. It's like, I can't change your personality. I can't change who you are.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you may change your mind and how you see things over time.
Right.
And that's awesome. That's what we want to see.
Right.
We encourage that. But if that's not in you, you know, and you're
Yeah.
just like, yeah, I just want to get some toned arms, and then it's like, well,
Yeah,
that's not enough to carry you through, this
No.
process. 'Cause
It's not about burning calories.
Right, it's not about burning calories. It's like, it's a definite personality thing. And we've seen people, whether you're an introvert or an extrovert,
Yeah.
doesn't necessarily matter that there's sort of an adventurous attitude for people in CrossFit where they're willing to kind of go outside of their comfort zone and try
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
And we've seen introverts come out of their shell. And,
Right.
you know,
All the time.
And extroverts, I think, just kind of thrive in this environment anyways. But, and I can say that as an introverted person, like,
Yeah.
it does kind of force you out of that. Yeah,
Introvert.
I said it. Guilty.
Guilty. Zoom in,
Which is,
zoom
you
out.
know, why I'm a weightlifter.
All the
but-
members are like,
Yeah, yeah.
Taylor's an introvert.
Yeah. So it's not that there's a specific type of person that it's good for, but it is definitely a personality thing.
Yeah, and I think that's one of my favorite things about having a CrossFit program, and when it attracts the right person. You know you've got the right person when someone's coming in, you show them the gym, and it's a completely foreign environment. Like, they're used to machines, they're used to seeing a certain amount of things within a gym setting, and all of a sudden there are no machines. It's just free weights, and there's all this open space, and they're not sure what's about to happen.
Right.
They're nervous, they're intimidated, they know they don't know anything, and they're like, you know what? I'm down. Like, I want to learn.
Yeah.
You know, like, this is intimidating, it makes me nervous. I know I'm starting from ground zero, but I'm in it for the process. You know, like, not just the end result. You can't be in CrossFit just to look a certain way. You will absolutely have those benefits of it if you are consistent and have your diet. But it's not an aesthetic focused program, or it's not necessarily just a fitness focused program where it's just there to make you fit. Yes,
Yeah.
you will get fit and you'll have all those aesthetics and things like that come with a quality CrossFit program. But you have to have that right mindset of like, all right, I want to do things that are really difficult for me mentally and physically. You know, I want to do things that in the middle of it make me, you know, kind of question what I'm doing, and then you get through it, and then, you know, you're done, you become empowered because of it,
Yeah.
you know, and we're not so fixated on how we look. We're fixated on what we're trying to get our bodies to do and how capable we become outside of the gym. So it's not just a sweaty, hard workout. We want people that have that growth mindset, that are humble and are able to be honest about where they are with their bodies right now, and be willing to accept that and say, all right, this is where I am, this is where I want to go. And together we decide what that process is going to look like, and it's different for everyone. But you have to have the mindset of knowing you're going to have to slow down certain times, or you're not going to be doing the same thing that everyone's going to be doing. You have to be okay with that, you know, or else, you know, you're not going to get the development that we need.
Yeah, a good example of that for me is just I had to subtract some weight, 2 or 3 days ago.
Yeah.
I just couldn't do it.
You have to be willing to do
Yeah.
it.
As
And you
terrible
can't
as
get
it felt, I had to
frustrated.
do it.
Yeah.
You know?
It's going to show you some humility,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and you got to be okay with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, like there are plenty of days where we just have strength days, where we're just lifting, we're resting between our sets, we're focusing on just getting stronger. And if you always want to come to a workout, if your idea of coming to a workout is just to run around and get really out of breath all the time, well, you can do that in
Roll around
Orange
on the
Theory
floor.
Anywhere else,
or
yeah.
circuit training class or boxing, or you know, that's not a comprehensive program.
So question, and it may sound repetitive, and I don't mean to sound repetitive. What do you say to your clients, future clients today? Like, or maybe the people that are watching this, they're like, okay, maybe CrossFit isn't for me. What do you recommend? What should I do? I want to stay here. I love social CrossFit.
Mm-hmm.
What the hell do I do now? Because they're nailing on some points for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I would say for someone who's just looking to get in great shape, you know, improve their body composition, have an effective workout, have fun, I would say that our body program is more appropriate for them. You know, our body program is wonderful because it has strength training. It has a progressive program where you're still working on improving and addressing weaknesses and stuff like that. There's plenty of conditioning involved. But there's a lot less learning curve, and it's not so much of a sport.
Yeah, you don't have to. You don't have to
know?
learn gymnastics. You don't have to learn Olympic weightlifting to be in the body programs, but we still believe in strength training.
Right.
You're gonna get that.
Cool.
Like that's effective. You're gonna get effective conditioning. It's just a little more traditional.
Okay, I'm a social butterfly. Is there community?
Yeah.
I need to have that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Cool.
definitely. And there's community even within our body program. Again, I think it's just that mindset of what you enjoy. If you enjoy playing sports, honestly, CrossFit is going to be more your cup of tea. There's plenty of people that don't really enjoy playing sports, or they don't want to treat their exercise regimen as a sport and stuff like that. Well,
Remember
that's
that guy? He
CrossFit.
played sports and he was all about it, and he still didn't have it. You remember?
Right.
He came in and shaved reps, and then
Yeah.
just ducked out.
Yeah.
Calling him out. I hope you're watching this.
Yeah. Yeah, we have a lot of integrity in our CrossFit program, but again, it just comes down to that growth mindset. You have to know that you're in it for the long term.
Yeah, and if you don't want that, that's fine. Like,
Yeah.
that's great. You'll get something out of some other structured program. So
Right.
find something where you can still strength train, you still get challenged, and you still learn new things, but it doesn't have to be in this really intense performance-based environment.
Yeah,
Cool.
definitely.
Yeah.
What else you guys got? Drop more gold. I need more gold. No? Gold. Nuggets?
I would say kind of to touch on what he's talking about is, again, when you're a beginner, when you're green and new to everything, when you're introduced to barbell training for the first time, stuff like that. In CrossFit, you're probably going to spend a lot of time with an empty bar.
Yeah.
You're not going to have those intense workouts yet because you're not there yet. You haven't built the foundation of sound movement. You haven't built like a solid aerobic base yet. So
Right.
a lot of times people come into CrossFit thinking it's going to be intense and very hard and difficult in those ways right away, when really we have a lot of learning to do.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like your
learning.
first couple months of CrossFit, at least in our program, you're learning how to move correctly for the first time. Like we're going to change your patterns, how you hinge your hips, how you squat. And we're not going to necessarily load those things. So it's not going to be difficult to where maybe you're not going to get very sore or you're not going to be out of breath all the time like someone else who's mastered those movements and can add intensity to it.
Yeah.
So if you're looking to come into CrossFit and get these crazy, really hard workouts right away and you're new to movements, it's not going to happen. But you have to understand and have that growth mindset that, like, all right, I'm investing this time right now to be able to long term really ramp up and get everything out of the program. But I have to commit to learning some things
just
for
taking
a while.
a little step back.
Yeah.
Letting the ego go and knowing
Yeah.
that like, this is going to improve me if I just
Yeah.
take this time and
Right.
start from the beginning.
But when people are impatient and just want a really hard workout right away, you can do a program that's less involved, like body, that where you can really push intensity with simpler things like pulling and pushing a sled,
Yeah, you can just
or
get
like
into it.
basic squat, push, pull, hinge patterns. We're not talking about doing Olympic weightlifting or climbing ropes and things like that.
Yeah.
So it just depends on what your long-term goals are, and even your short-term goals too. So definitely mindset's big.
So
Heck yeah.
set your goals, set
Yeah.
your personality, and know where you are physically and what's realistic for you, really.
Yeah.
Cool.
Definitely.
Closing arguments. Is CrossFit for everyone?
No.
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 I'm shocked.
So we'll see you guys again on Coffee Talk soon. We'll have more topics. If you have any suggestions, please let us know. We'd love to answer your questions. But otherwise, we'll bring up some new stuff that gets us fired up. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Elevate St. Pete.
Yeah.
Thanks.
See ya.
Dropping fire. All right, guys.
Yeah, yeah.